Warning. This video contains spoilers for DC Universe's Doom Patrol. Viewer discretion is advised.
DC Universe is out and I paid for a year of it. This is DC Discussion. Readers, I'm happy to announce that this episode and probably the next episode of Doom Patrol are extremely streamlined. No B-plots, just one solid story from beginning to end, which, considering this episode of Doom Patrol, I was not only expecting, but would have been pretty upset about it if it actually did interrupt it with a B-plot. Because you don't just tackle a subject as complex as Jane's actual mental health and then decide to throw a meanwhile scenario for everyone not involved for us to look at simultaneously like that shit's not important. No. You do the right thing and make that shit that happens while Jane's comatose on the outside its own episode, which they did. And I'm very happy that they did it. Because holy shit. So Rita and Cliff are able to successfully get Jane back to Doom Manor, while inside of her head, Karen has been taken to the Council of Janes to pretty much stand trial. And can I just say that I actually dig the fact that not every one of her alters looks like her? Like the fact that they would have had their own facial features and uniqueness outside of what Jane's physically limited to within her own head is pretty dope. It also makes signaling Hammerhead out extremely fucking easy. There she is, she's right fucking there. And of course Jane is down there with them as well. But the other personalities find her and immediately pressure her to leave the underground and head back up. She doesn't do that, and instead goes rummaging through the underground to find answers and meaning. Of course, the squad doesn't know this, so they fear the worst is happening to her. And after Vic playfully offers a suggestion on how to get her conscious,
part of me wishes that we could just shrink ourselves Magic School Bus style and get inside her head.
The negative spirit leaves Larry's body and connects Cliff and Jane's brains together on some Days of Future Past type shit, transporting him into the underground. With his face! From then on, we're just focused on Jane's search for meaning in one of the memories that are associated with her, and Cliff's journey to get her back, and it's pretty interesting to watch. However, Cliff's journey doesn't start off as easily as I make it sound.
Hey, shit for brains.
Hammerhead?
Yeah, Einstein.
See, even Cliff knew. He gets thrown in prison soon afterwards, but is freed by Penny, the alter that took over for Hammerhead during the Cult Patrol episode after they got transported into the snow globe. She lets him know that after a visit from a freaky set of psychic alters called the Sisters, that Jane is headed toward the Well, a portion of the underground that holds the darkest memories for her. In order to head there, you have to go as deep into the underground as possible, since the deeper you go, the darker the memories. The last alter that went to the well was an alter named Miranda, one of Jane's first. She didn't turn out so hot afterwards. Look, if I showed you the clips in question, this video would get demonetized for sure, so just take my word for it. Anyway, Cliff and Penny eventually catch up with Jane before she reaches the well, and Cliff tries to talk her into coming back. This backfires because of two reasons, at least to me. One, every time Jane asks Cliff why he's in her brain or tells him to leave, he never mentions the fact that the negative spirit connected his with hers and that he's pretty much stuck there until they're both back. Two, despite making some progress with how he views himself, Jane's still able to tell that Cliff still has a sense of parental attachment to her that he hasn't worked out yet, and is still using that as one of his main motivators. And while I'm glad that she called him out on it, this told me a lot about how this episode is more than likely going to end. This argument between Cliff and Jane is evidence that despite us learning about how her mental space works and being a momentous amount of development for her, this unfortunately isn't even 80% of her story. Cliff is going to have at least 40% of the development in this story that is literally centered around Jane, and it's probably going to come down to the last portion of the episode. And while it's something that I definitely saw coming ever since episode 2, The episodes following it gave me hope that there wouldn't be that big of a tie between the two of them going forward, especially since they did such a good job at having them be their own people and develop on their own. Especially once we find out a very interesting truth that was referenced earlier in the episode, but we get a better picture of it when we see Jane finally reach the well. We finally get an association with the puzzle pieces she was terrified of in her Mento nightmare in the Doom Patrol episode. The reason why they're so traumatic for her is because it was through those puzzle pieces that she was born as an alter. That's right, Jane isn't the original personality. That title goes to Kay Chalice. And Jane was created as a means to endure what I'm pretty sure is the sexual assault brought on by her father, with he and the jigsaw puzzle pieces being the first thing she associated with her initial role. By the time Cliff reaches the well, he's back as his robot man self after dealing with some self-realization of his own. And as I figured, he was able to not only keep Jane from falling into the well and losing herself, but give her the strength she needed to overcome her trauma instead of being capable of doing it herself before the two returned to the surface. Sometimes I hate being right. Because given the progress that Jane has made, if she would have come to this realization herself, this would have been her Rita moment. It wouldn't have downplayed the other alters, nor would it have undermined Cliff in any way. If anything, it would have shown us in Cliff that she could overcome the darkness in her by herself, that she didn't need him to be the hero like she said earlier on in the episode. It would have also been just as beneficial for Cliff because it would have caused him to truly double think on why he looks at Jane the way that he does, and reevaluate both himself and his overall perception of her in order to build a better and more healthier relationship because of it. But then I realized that that's not how the show's gonna handle this at all, when I remembered the scene that played out when Cliff and Penny were still searching the underground for Jane.
I don't get it. Why is this memory buried so deep? This is good.
Long before you got
For you, maybe.
70s.
For us, it was the beginning of everything going sideways.
I don't understand.
You gave her hope.
You see what I'm talking about? Now, I'm not saying that she can't have hope for a better life because of the interaction. But I realize that the show really likes to play up Cliff's overall link with Jane in this way, and I just thought it would have been really sweet if she didn't need him in the way that both the show and that scene has been handling this angle. I'd honestly prefer that the two be on a similar wavelength of respect as opposed to her being dependent on him. Honestly, I'm kinda glad that the next episode is gonna focus on what Vic and Rita were up to while Cliff and Jane were playing Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Because as good as this episode was for revealing what it revealed and exploring Jane's headspace, I'm really irritated with how this episode ended. Also, DC Universe missed the prime opportunity to use Breaking Benjamin's Diary of Jane, and I am utterly disappointed. Not mad, just disappointed. But I digress, readers. Your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comment section below what you thought of Doom Patrol Episode 9 if you've seen it. Patreon-a-thon is happening all April long here on Readus 101, so if you want to qualify for giveaways and help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description box below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.